Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of Poly Weekly News. I'm your host, David Danto, and I'm speaking to you from the Colorado Convention Center here in downtown Denver, where we're attending CEDIA Expo and Commercial Integrator Expo for this year. This is going to be an interesting show. We've got the moderators of the IMCCA Unified Communications and Future of Work track joining us. They'll be talking about what's going on the stage, what's the latest in the industry, and a lot of other hot news and interesting items. So stay with us. Okay, I'm sitting here now with the Executive Director of the IMCCA, Carol Zelkin. I'm going to let Carol introduce herself, tell you a little bit about the history of the IMCCA, and I'll ask her a couple of questions. We are here at Setup Day for CEDIA Expo, Commercial Integrator Expo 2023, here in the IMCCA booth. Thanks for joining me, Carol.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Carol Zelkin, the Executive Director of the IMCCA. We're the nonprofit organization for the collaborative conferencing industry. We're proud to be here at CEDIA to represent all our vendor members. We're going to be running 10 sessions over the next 2 days, all about UC and work from home. And if you're in the hall somewhere, we'd love to have you stop by and visit with David and I, and maybe you want to do a little video with David and spend a little time in our booth. If any of you have any questions, you can always reach me at czelkin@imcca.org. Thank you.
That's great, Carol. Thanks very much. So if anybody's curious, we're doing this entire thing with an HP Poly R30 device. It's in an experimental conversation mode or training mode. So you see it's doing all this on its own. I am using a separate microphone because you can hear, I'm sure, the banging and the drilling and the booth setup. So I'm keeping a microphone close. But we're going to be bringing you a lot of content from here. So stay with us. Thanks a lot. So we're back at CEDIA Expo and Commercial Integrator Expo, and my guest now is my friend Michelle Lorette. Michelle, say hi to everybody.
Hi. Hey, everybody. How are y'all doing?
So I know you just changed roles. What's your new job?
My new job is a regional sales manager for the lovely people at ViewSonic.
And ViewSonic does what? They make like cars, boats?
Yes. I'm in the automobile industry. No, they make interactive flat panels, LED walls, displays. So a little bit of everything, but they were founded in the monitor business 35 years ago. They're privately held. We're the only minority American-owned large format display manufacturer in the world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, well, I wonder why you took that shot. That's interesting. The next question I have for you is, this isn't your first CEDIA Expo, right? You've been to this show a couple times before. You moderated sessions at the show before.
Yes, I did. It was in Texas last year, so I got lucky. It was in Dallas, and that worked out really well. And I thought it was a great show. And I did see already the beginning stages of a lot of crossover. And Dan Farisi had come by our booth, and he asked what I thought. And, if you ask my opinion, I'm going to give it to you. And so he asked what I thought about co-locating a commercial show, and because I had been working for ADI Global and we were working with a lot of residential that also did kind of resi-mercial in terms of sports bars, multi-unit dwellings, things like that, hotels. I just thought it was a great idea, and I was 100% for it. I was like, oh, it's brilliant. Sure, why not?
So tell me about your session for this week's show. As you know, we're here as they're setting up the show, so we're going to be doing all of our sessions tomorrow and the next day. And this really super wide shot, we're just picking up people walking down the halls. Hopefully the camera will figure out not to do that in a minute. So tell me about your session. What's it about?
Is AV part of IT? I mean, that's always the great debate. Obviously, we have a lot of pride in our industry, and I do think that all low voltage specialties have their own nuances, most certainly. But yeah, that's the big debate. So looking forward to a really good discussion tomorrow.
Yeah, and I've been having that conversation with a lot of people over the years. I think that AV is a specialty of IT, just as networking is a specialty of IT, and a lot of people completely disagree with that. And you're going to have a chat with a couple of people in the industry, right? Or at least
I am. Lainey Materas and Paul Zealy. So I'm really excited. I love Lainey. She's a great lady. So always good to have a talk with her. And Paul Zealy always has a very strong opinion about everything. And so I think it'll make for a really dynamic discussion.
And I saw a couple of your slides. It was interesting. If you pretend that you're in 1975 and close your eyes and think about AV, you think about a CaraMate or a slide projector or a dissolve unit or things like that. And if you close your eyes and think about AV now, you're probably thinking about displays and network connections and things like that.
When I first approached the industry, and I had spent a year at an integrator, and then I went to work for a manufacturer rep. So we had a portfolio of products. One of them was Clear One. They had done an acquisition of NetStreams, which was in the residential world, and did AV over IP, and had been doing it for years before the Clear One acquisition. So this was prior to 2012. We're now in 2023. So the engineer for NetStreams was my FSC for Clear One. He loved talking about networked AV, and all of the dealers looked at us with glazed eyes, but I understood exactly what he was talking about because I had been in the voice, the telephony world a decade before that when they were the advent of AV, of voice over IP. So,
yeah, and voice was one of the first things to be absorbed by the IT group.
Yes, it was. And look, I get it. There was lots of kicking and screaming and not on my network, and some of that doesn't ever change. But the evolution, it just takes time, just a couple decades, and next thing you know, here we are.
So I appreciate the fact that you came here, and we're going to have a wonderful session the next couple of days, and your session is going to be terrific and well attended. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, reach out to you, how should they do that?
Let's see. You can find me on X, formerly Twitter, at Mostly AV, or you can reach out michelle.lorette@viewsonic.com.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it.
Thanks, David.
So joining me now is my friend and industry analyst, Kevin Keeler. Kevin, hi. Thanks for joining us here.
Well, welcome, David. It's good to be here.
So I've drafted you into moderating 3 sessions here.
That's
right.
right.
Let's do them in order. The first one is going to be about platforms, right?
Yeah, about collaborating in the cloud and talking about just kind of as people move to the cloud, what are they looking for? What are some of the challenges with the different modalities? And, starting, I guess, at a high level.
Okay, and we used to talk about cloud probably for like 10 or 12 years. That you have to be out cloud, buzzword, and then the pandemic hit, and if you weren't on cloud, you were dead. You needed to be able to work from everywhere. So that really was the trigger to get everybody there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like the cloud, gives people and organizations the scalability that they really needed. And, previously, and I think I have a slide, I've been working on the presentation for a while, but, people would say maybe 20% of people would be remote. So that would be what they would plan. Now, then when 100% of people went remote, the proxy servers, your edge servers, they didn't have the capacity. So really, cloud was the saving grace for many organizations when 100% of people went remote. And now cloud, of course, as we're dealing with hybrid work and people aren't sure where they're working, they know they want to work remote, organizations aren't sure how much they're going to allow that. The cloud gives you that flexibility. So you can work, if you end up in the office, the cloud supports you. If people end up 90% at home, the cloud supports you. So really the flexibility is what the cloud is continuing to deliver.
And then the second thing, and as we talk, I'm going to play with the technology here so our viewers can see it. I'm going to switch us over from group framing to conversation mode, and let's see how it works.
Okay.
It'll be interesting. We'll get some split screens. All right, so the second one is about picking the right platform, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really about understanding. There's a lot of very good choices. If you look at Gartner's Magic Quadrant, there's a lot of leaders. I mean, all of those are very capable systems. There are some significant differences, and really that's what I'm going to try to do is highlight the key differences that may or may not matter to different audience participants, but hopefully just kind of distill a lot of information. And then at the end of the session, real quickly, talking about something that I think is significant is making your choice be the right choice. So, pick, yes, one of the leading platforms. There's lots of great choices, but then you got to do some things to implement it so that it's successful for you and your organization.
Okay, terrific. And the third one, as I'm going to keep playing with these because it's picking up shots of the people coming in.
Oh, okay.
So we'll leave it on speaker and see what that one does. So the third one is about AI, right? And it's like, since you've been on the plane, there have been 5 more AI announcements to track. I don't think your slides are up to date.
No, I'm sure they're not. Maybe I could use AI to automatically update the slides. That would be the only way to keep up to date. Yes, and so certainly with collaboration tools, AI is becoming one of the key differentiators. There's lots of commodity things, right? Like people talk about, noise cancellation and fancy video framing, and everybody has a story around that. And so now I think people are trying to break out and bring something different with respect to the artificial intelligence. Still early days, still a bunch of hype. A lot of people don't understand it. I share some stats, even people like in computer science, a very low percentage say that they actually understand how AI works. And so once again, at a high level, try to provide the audience with some understanding of key things that they should be thinking about, looking into as they move their organization on an AI journey.
And one key point that happened probably while you were on the airplane, which is interesting, is that the most of the platforms in our collaboration space that are introducing AI are charging for it. They're actually charging a lot for it. But interestingly, Zoom's announcement just came out,
right,
and they're going to be providing it for free to paying customers. So that's going to be very disruptive and very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, no, and that's an interesting, like in terms of competing on a price basis, yes. So, certainly Microsoft came out and said Copilot was going to be $30 per user per month, and people said, oh my gosh, that's a lot. And then, but if you look at it, if it derives value, $360 a year, if it makes you, saves you a couple of hours a month, that might be a good deal. But AI is computingly intensive, so there is significant cost to both building a large language model and then powering it. So it will be interesting to see how different vendors charge or don't charge for a while to get you hooked. But yeah, the Zoom announcement was very interesting, and the Zoom meeting summaries, which has been around for a while and keeps evolving, is already there, right? So, and it's doing a pretty decent job. I think we turned it on for one of the pre-meeting discussions, right?
Yes, Amelia used it. Amelia will be on hopefully shortly if I can get her over here. Right. So Commercial Integrator Expo, it's the first year combined with CEDIA Expo. We're here live on the show floor. We will be recording and there's Amelia walking in right now. She's got, I don't know if she can pull in a chair next to Kevin, and you'll see if it'll figure out. You'll have to say hello to everybody. We'll do a one-on-one with you later. But
welcome, Amelia.
Just say hi to everybody and see if
Hi.
I can pick you up.
Hello. Hello. How are you doing?
It's the voice off stage.
Yeah, we'll try.
Wait, it's trying.
There we
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Trust me, she's here. Okay, so that's the AI in the camera. This is really on the fly. I have it set up on a little pair of sticks. So anyway, all of the presentations that we are doing here on the stage are going to be recorded. We're going to make them available to people who couldn't come to the show. These are just preview conversations, so stay with us. A lot more to come. So joining me now is Amelia Vrabel, who I'm now pronouncing her name correctly for the first time in a couple of years. Amelia, thanks for joining us. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Hi, so my name's Amelia Vrabel. I am with ABISPL, and I am our Business Development Manager for Cloud and UCC. So I really kind of help to grow our UCC business, grow the stack that we're selling, work with our account managers and our customers to really get the best solution across, whatever platforms.
So your presentation today, which also happens to be inside Commercial Integrator, that just came out this month, is about the future and returning to the office or hybrid working, or how would you describe it if you had it on an elevator pitch?
So I like to call it modern work. I'm not a huge fan of the word hybrid work, because to me that's just work. And I think the future is today, and we definitely need to take a look at work differently today than we did even 3 or 4 years ago, and look at how we can really take the tools and the technologies we have and where we're at and improve it and use everything as best as possible, and lead in the right way to make sure that employees are, we're getting the most out of people and that they're enjoying their jobs and being inspired to work in the best way.
Now, we've talked about this, you and I, before, that the noise floor on this subject is about as big as the noise floor has ever been on anything. You can't open the Wall Street Journal without reading an article about how bad it is working remotely, and you've got people write tons of articles about empty offices, and people want people back, people don't want to go back. It's really a contentious thing. How do you see the outcome of this turning out? What do you think is the right way out of this?
Like I said in my article, there's not a one size fits all. There's not a right answer. It's like saying, where's the best place to grow a flower. It depends on the flower. It depends if you're, it depends on the plant. If you're a cactus, grow in the desert. If you're a rose, don't grow in the desert. And you really have to be able to look at organizations individually. You need to look at roles and responsibilities individually, and look at the type of work people are doing and the outcomes that they're desiring to get from that work, and not just focus on metrics like productivity, which don't really tell you anything about the value that's getting created or the kind of work that people are doing or where they're most inspired, for that matter. And at the end of the day, that we're humans, we're not machines, and we need to be set up to do our best work wherever we are, and we're all different. So
When do you think the noise floor or the hype around this issue will finally kind of settle into whatever the new normal is going to be?
I don't know. That's a hard question, because I think there are a lot of factors at play, and if we were all using the tools at 100%, we all were kind of operating in the best possible way, it would be easier to see like what works best for what people. But I think, like Kevin had said in his presentation, most people, and I think the numbers are probably even worse than that, probably aren't using the tools that they have. And even the ones that think they are probably aren't really, they just don't know. And I also think you've got a lot of this kind of generational and cultural gaps that are in the workplace today that are just going to continue to, it's trying to convince people to change deep-seated opinions is hard. And it just doesn't matter how much logic or anything else you throw at them in any, not just about this topic, but this was obviously one we're talking about. But it's one of those things that is very polarizing, and it continues to be, people feel very strongly about certain things, generally from the lens at which they work and the way that they operate and the way that they have, kind of always known things. And in many ways, you really have to take a step back and say, okay, let's, even assuming this is the best way for you, doesn't mean that's the best way for the people that you're hiring or the people that you're yet to hire, or the type of work that they're doing or where they're going to give you their best effort or anything else like that. So, that'll always going to continue to evolve, I think, till we get to a point where, and this is why I kind of say hybrid is work, because the majority of people, I think, will do some kind of hybrid work. It's not going to be 1 day in the office or 3 days in the office, or it's not going to be the same formula for every person, because it wouldn't even make sense to be the same formula for every person.
So we can read the article in the September Commercial Integrator, and your session will eventually be posted, and we'll give everybody links to that. In between now and then, if people want to get in touch with you, how do you suggest they do that?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, probably the best way, Amelia Vrabel. I am the only one as far as I know. And that's probably the best. I'm on Twitter at Amelia262, and look forward to it.
And out running someday, right?
Sometimes I'm out running, sometimes, I'm not. Like today I was just out driving here, so that was great too. But
thanks for joining us, really appreciate it.
thank you.
So, joining me now are the moderators of the session tomorrow about when video becomes more than just video conferencing, when it's video as a studio. Oh, what was the title you came up with for that? You don't remember? I don't remember either.
Video conferencing as a studio was creative.
Yes, I think that's right.
There was something about, making it bigger, right? Expanding. When you expand into doing content creation. Here again live at CEDIA Expo, Commercial Integrator Expo 23. I have David Maldo and Chris Netta with me. Say hi, David.
Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone.
So, what is the session? What's the point of the session tomorrow? What's it going to be all about?
Well, I think a lot of us, we're all working at home now, and we find ourselves on Zoom and Microsoft Teams, and we've done a few things to make ourselves look a little better. We fixed our framing and our lighting, and we have cameras. Why not start recording some stuff for YouTube? And I think a lot of people are intimidated. Oh, so I got to spend $10,000 to get started, and Chris and I are going to tell you that you don't have to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris, you do this, right? You do this all the time.
All the time. It's more than just having a space in your home to have a Zoom conversation or a Google conversation or a Microsoft conversation with you. You can turn that same setup into an executive briefing center where your executive now, with the proper backdrop, proper lighting, and some good acoustics in the room, can turn that into a place where they meet with media. And it's not, the Apple earpods or earpods. I don't even know what they call them. Those little white things that they put in their ears, like everybody goes on the TV news channels. Like, give them something proper. You can do recordings, right? You don't lose sight of the fact that you can do that and address your company. Why are we still doing email blasts when you can just do a quick video and get it out? It's also very good for ad hoc, really quick kind of put together messages, and it's also, if you want to personalize a message, what better way to do it than having the leadership of the team be in a position where they can just turn on their video, record a quick video message to the team. It comes a little bit more personal. You're not ending it with sincerely or regards or best wishes. You're saying it, and your expressiveness and how you talk. It's something that we've been selling video for many years. So now that you have it, let's not be the shoeless cobbler's kids. Let's use our own stuff.
So we've been talking about this for a long time, and a lot of people don't recognize and they don't know that at the bottom of the click on most of the team chat applications is a button that you can turn on and just record a video message and pop it right into the channel, so that it's faster than typing and you get your message across with the right inflections. So that is certainly one way of elevating this to that next level. Another one is what we're doing right now. We're sitting here with a high quality camera and a decent but stupid looking microphone, and we're creating content that people will watch as part of a webcast. Now, you've been doing that for a long time, David. You do it better than all of us.
He's the king of content.
You do it with OBS Studio and other tools, right?
Yeah, and OBS is a little tricky. I have some tutorials about it, but you don't really need OBS. I mean, OBS gives me virtual backgrounds and things flying across the screen. But when I started, and I think that's one of the things we're going to get to tomorrow, it was just a webcam. I think I was even using the mic on the webcam. It was bad audio, it was bad video, but it was fine because I got comfortable with streaming. And gradually, I kind of, what do I need to improve? I don't like the way I sound, let's work on microphones. I don't like the way I look, let's work on lighting. It was a gradual process, and yeah, and it's one of the great things is there's a lot of uses of it. You might think, well, I'm not going to make that much content. If you studioify your office a little bit, you're going to look better on Zoom and better on Microsoft Teams. You'll be more effective in sales meetings. It benefits all around. But content creation is a lot of fun.
So the funny thing about content creation is, we're only looking at it from a commercial side. Oh my God, we're just doing video calls, and you want to look better, you want to sound better. Pre-pandemic, pandemic, early pandemic conversations were all about get better, look better, sound better. Well, you may have now 2-3 webcams because you went through looking for what is better. Take those 2-3 webcams and have multiple camera shots. You can use and repurpose some of your old gear for a top-down unboxing. How popular are unboxing videos? If you are an integrator, you should be doing unboxings of the latest and greatest products that you have for your customers, and send that through the private channels and through your own emails and little videos that you can do. Create little clips. Not just unboxings, people want to know who the people are in your team. So highlight a project manager, highlight an engineer, people that are not the forefront in the magazines or in the public for the most part, but show the people in your teams. And the best way to do it is by showing it on video. Talk about the gentleman who's been with your company 20 years building a rack, and that is what he's great at. He may be the best rack builder you ever worked with, but nobody would know. So instead of writing a little write-up about it, which will take you God knows how many revisions and hours to kind of wordsmith it, just take a video to where he is and let him show what he's doing, right? And that is a trait on its own, and that's a quality on its own, that's specialty on its own. So I'm a big fan of it.
So looking forward to the session you guys are doing tomorrow. If you're at CEDIA Expo, Commercial Integrator Expo, please come join us and learn about that. We are recording it, so if you're not here, we're going to be able to put it out for you probably within the next month or so once we get everything taken care of, so everybody will get to see it. Other than that recording, how can people see what you do online?
Oh, the best way to find me is just go to letsdovideo.com. My big thing is my YouTube channel, but any video on YouTube is also on the website. So just go to letsdovideo.com and check out the live streams and check out the recorded videos.
Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can find Starin on the LinkedIn and Starin.biz. That's our website.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great show. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Poly Weekly News here at the Colorado Convention Center and Commercial Integrator Expo and CEDIA Expo. For all of my colleagues at HP and Poly, thank you very much for joining us and listening to everything that we have to say and do every week. My name is David Danto, and I'll see you next week.